So the reason I wanted to talk to you about my personal background is just so you get a sense of where I'm coming from. I started being interested in music and certainly building instruments at a very, very young age. And the very first job I had, I'll never forget this, was tying little figure-8 knots on the end of nylon strings. And I did that for 2 weeks, and I thought, what am I doing? You know, this is a waste of time. And my grandfather just said, you know, give it time, you know, you got your foot in the door, and opportunities will become available to you. But around 1986, 87, that all started changing. And I was able to get into the guitar making part. Passion, though, was always, after work I'd go home and I'd work in my home shop. And I probably would, you know, work a 9-hour day at Martin, come home, work another, you know, 4 or 5 hours, go to bed, get up and do it all over again. So I had a lot of ideas that I would get at work, and I would get those ideas out at home. In 1997, I was able to join the R&D group. So this is actually a cherry back and sides. The spruce top one here was reclaimed. So we used to call it diaper wood. And the reason we called it diaper wood was because the wood came from a lake, and it was reclaimed from a lake. And they were going to turn it into pulp to make, you know, paper products, diapers. And we've made guitars with, you know, knotty pine, big knots in the side of it, bent fine, sounded fine, held up fine, had those built for like 5-10 years. Do they sound like a Brazilian rosewood guitar? No. Do they sound like an acceptable guitar for most people? Absolutely. And that's the interesting part with alternative materials, is that sound is very subjective. And so when we do our sound testing, a lot of times, well, most times we do two things. We do a subjective test where we have people listen to the guitars, play the guitars, and then rank them based on their preferences. And then we're able to take that instrument and record it into the computer. We have a chart that's laid out for us so we can see exactly where all the frequencies are, and then we can correlate those subjective results with the very objective testing from the computer. And that really helps us make decisions as we move forward. When I think of where I started and my knowledge, you know, when I was a 13-year-old kid playing guitar with my grandfather and him teaching me, what was I playing? I was playing his employee model that he built at the factory, made of Brazilian rosewood, right? German spruce, beautiful sounding guitar. And that's what my ears acclimated to. But over time, we need to bring in some of these alternative materials from a very needing basis. And so, you know, how do we combine those materials together to get that sound that a lot of us are really used to? You know, managing the natural resources, and that's critical for future product. You know, certainly, you know, we want to see wood products being used, you know, in the future. So managing the forest is critical. I've gone through pretty much of the materials that I think I know of. I'm real excited about the NFC materials, really excited about that. From a tap tone perspective, I think they have large potential. So we'll see how that works out, but I think it's great stuff.